Hello everybody, welcome to Tactics Test. It's again me, International Master Sopiko Guramishvili here for you on Chess 24. As you know, it's Thursday evening and every Thursday evening 8 p.m. we have either Banter Blitz with me or Tactic Test. This time we're gonna solve a lot of tactics. I love Chess 24 for this feature especially because it's so nice to solve tactics on Chess 24. Very difficult, I have to say, but so useful, so much helpful, especially during the games. If you are not during the games, sorry, during the tournaments, before the tournaments, just before the game, go on Chess 24 and solve the tactics. I especially recommend to solve the 5-minute speed tactic trainer because then you don't have to stop after every puzzle. You just solve as much as possible in 5 minutes, and afterwards you can check it was correct or not. Okay, so this time I'm gonna challenge myself for an hour to solve the tactics, and of course I will need your help, guys. You should solve with me. I'll try to explain what are my ideas when I see the position. I'll try to explain what moves I see when it's first time I see the position, what ideas, and if it is correct or not, we will see that. Okay, let's get started. So, who are new on my show and you're watching for the first time, you should know that I'm going on Chess24 website, then I'm choosing the tab Learn, and afterwards I'm solving the tactics. I will show you those tactics as soon I get them, so get ready. And there we go. Here we have the very first tactics. Ooh, pawn and game. Okay, it's a pawn and game. So what can I do? Oh, sorry. Let's see. Something should happen on king side for sure. So I'm thinking about h5, g5, generally with the idea g5, hg, h5 with the idea of f6 and h6. But I have to choose the right move order because I'm not allowed to make any mistakes. It's very concrete puzzle. So let's say after g5, hg5, h5, king d7 doesn't help in my opinion because king d7 comes. No, let's say. Okay, g5, hg, h5, king d7, f6. I'm a bit scared of king e7. King e6, sorry. Take king f7, h6. Ooh, I might lose this even. Okay. This looks quite difficult. f6 doesn't work. g5 also have to look at it once again. h5 I don't think is the point because, well, after g5 black has an option of h5 as well, so g5, h5, g6, king d7, f6 should be winning for me. And that's right. So g5, hg is the main problem, and maybe I cannot really take hg, king d7, g6, king d7, then black is completely in time. So after g5, hg, h5, king d7, f6, and my worry is king e6. F takes g7, king f7, h6, and g4. This I'm for sure losing. Tough puzzle. From the very beginning, very tough puzzle. What do you think, guys? What would you play in this position? I'm gonna look at chat. As I don't have two desktops, I have two Google Chrome open, so you might see some window popping up, but that's just because I want to check what do you guys think. N3 Uber 3R said king c5, g5, winning the c pawn, winning with extra pawn. That's also possible, but I think that CD Beats said very nice thing, which is completely correct. G5, HG, and not to go H5, but F6 first, and GF, and then H5. So that should be, I think that should be the answer. Very well done. I think you helped me a lot because move order here, and yeah, that's applause for you. Very, very, very cool. It was very important because what I thought was that if he takes and h5, then king d7, and as I told you the line several times, I'm not going to repeat it anymore because you already know how black is winning there, but f6 actually is very, very, very strong move, because then black king is not in time to do anything. And my idea was correct, but I didn't find the right move order. And with this f6, gf6, h5, white completely is winning because black cannot stop the h pawn, and it will be queen. Thank you for your help. So let's go and continue another line, and here we are. It is white to move. Bishop e4 was the last move here, so I think there should be some kind of mating threats, because black's king is very weak and the pawn on h6 is super awesome, super strong. Look at this bishop on b3. Everything is ready so that white gives the mate. I'm thinking about the move bishop e6. The idea is, of course, that he cannot take queen e6 because I have queen f8, and queen g8 doesn't help because of queen f6. And another point is that I want to take on e4. You cannot play d5 because then queen e5, and if you go back with the bishop, then I have queen d4. So I think that should be the, yeah, very well. That is the correct solution. and I think I explained it, so let's continue. Rook e7, now it is black to move, and again white's king looks horrible, but there is one piece on third rank which actually can defend everything. I mean, check would be very nice, but rook g3 is there, so it's not very useful. What is the threat? Okay, queen e7 is one possibility, as I think. Another one is rook f2, of course. Let's say queen e7, rook f2 doesn't make much sense because he can just take the bishop on h3 and rook f1, rook king g2, rook f2. I don't believe that it can be mate. Only thing we can do probably is perpetual. Let's see what else can we play. Another line I'm interested is queen g6, rook g3 and rook f2. The idea is that if queen f2, then I have queen b1 check, and that's lost. If rook g6, then rook f1 is mate. So it looks like I found the solution. Oh, no! Why not? Rook g7, maybe? Oh, I think that was very nasty. Rook f2, my idea was very nice because he could not take on f2. I saw the very nice check on b1. He could not take on g6 because it was mate on f1, but he could take rook eg7, and that was my huge problem. Though if I play king h8, very weird. Really, really weird. Another thing I like of Chess24 is that when you don't understand what's happening or you're doubting and you want to check everything on computer, if there was a bug or maybe mistake in the puzzle, just to check Chess24, you can do that. And let me show you how actually. There is this button here. You push that and you go to analyze the puzzle. Once you get to analyze the puzzle, I'll get this position right away, and here you can see the engine moves and whatever the engine is saying. Let's say rook e7 was what white did, queen g6, rook g3, and I was wondering why not rook f2. And after rook f2, oh, that's a shame, because queen b1, rook e1 can be played simply. Oh, I need to solve more puzzles, of course. Okay, queen f2, really, this one, okay, this one was not what I was intending, though black is winning here, but after rook f2, once again, white can take on g7, and after, let's say, king h8, then rook g8, and I cannot escape from perpetual, because king h7, then simple rook g7 once again. And if I take it, let's say, then queen, I have to take it because bishop g4 is there. So take and take this endgame. Of course, black is slightly better, but it doesn't mean that he has anything special. So, of course, after rook g3, h4 was very nice, just forcing the rook to take on g6, and after rook g6, bishop g2, and king h1, simple rook gf2 wins the game. I have to say it was not easy at all, but my calculation was very bad because I was intending to play queen b1, whereas white is winning because rook e1 was simply there. But anyway, I'm going to train, I'm gonna improve, and I hope the things will get better. Before I continue to solve the puzzles, actually, I would like to tell you that you can ask me anything in the chat. I'll try to read it. I'm not able to read it simultaneously while I am solving the puzzles, but once in a while I'm checking the chat, so please feel free to ask me anything and I'll try to answer. Okay, let's continue to solve the puzzles, and there we go. I hope that I won't get to the very, very difficult one, because this one was not easy at all. Okay, there we go. Start classical training. And here I am. Okay, so now we have another seems to be difficult puzzle. It is white to move. First of all, what I'm checking is if the material is equal, and here it seems to be equal. White seems to have quite nice attack. f5 comes to mind, because gf5 looks really ugly. And what else? What else can I play? d5 does not really look nice because of cd. Just f5 to me looks very natural, especially since he has to take, let's say, f5, gf5, and here I have to find something I would really like. For example, queen g3, king h8, queen e5. You cannot play f6 because I'm just taking the bishop, so you have to play king ga8, and knight f5 looks here like a winning move. If queen g5, then rook g4, queen g4, and knight h6. Okay, let's try. Here, queen e5. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I think that was pretty easy. Queen e5. As I said, f6 cannot be played because of queen e6, and simple king g8 faces knight f5 with the idea of knight h6 mate, and the queen is hanging, and if queen g5, then I would have rook g4, take on g4, and knight h6 mate. Very nice. Let's continue. Okay. Again, white king is in huge trouble, but white has an extra piece. White does have an extra piece, but what can black play? How he can mate him, actually. First move candidates: b4, bishop c6, because then I want to play b4, Let's try to calculate these two. b4, king a4, bishop c6, king a5. There's no mate. If bishop c6, I want to play b4. So only move is to play, let's say, bishop c6, bishop c5, and a5. I don't see how white can... Yeah, that's correct, because now white cannot really avoid b4 mate. So after a5, just b4 comes and it's mate. Nice. It's very nice because usually if it's like a blitz game or so, you might be tempted to play b4 as soon as possible to give check. You see like check, there is another check, but then it turns out that, ooh, there is no mate. So this is really nice. Bishop c6 just threatens b4, and after bishop c5, simple a5 wins the game. Okay, let's continue. King h8. King h8. White to move. White to move. It seems like I'm still piece down, but still the king is in terrible condition. Though I have to be quick, just because there might be problems on my back rank as well, especially the g2 square. So my king is not that safe, but at least I have king h2 and like black needs one more move to mate me. So with these ideas, what type of move I can make? Distractions would not work here. I would want, of course, to close this one. Let's say bishop c8 comes to my mind, because then I have threat of king e8, rook e8, and queen f8. Though he has the move queen d8. But that looks ugly. Probably then I can do something like queen d4. And then rook e8, queen f6, if queen c8. Let's try. Yeah, he took it right away. Queen c8 now. And rook e8. That's mate. Though I had one beautiful line after bishop c8, queen d8, and on queen d8 I wanted to play queen d4 with the idea of rook e8, because if he took rook c8, rook e8, queen e8 and queen f6 would be very beautiful mate. So, okay. Let's continue, and there we go. Okay. Something should happen on f5, that's for sure. What happens? I'm just pawn down. Oh, that doesn't scare me at all. Something going on knight gf5 maybe? I like knight gf5, ef and e6 looks like very winning. e6, bishop e6, just rook e6. Yeah, that's it. The idea here was very nice because after gh, knight gf5, e takes f5, you should take because otherwise it's going to be terrible for black. And here, not taking back on f5, but just playing e6, bishop e6, rook e6, and if queen e6, okay, we all see that we can play bishop f5 and black is busted. Not even busted, black is lost. Okay, let's continue. After this puzzle, I'm gonna have a look at the chat, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer. Like, what openings are you interested in, or the book I would recommend, or anything chess related, I'm just gonna answer. Okay. Here, rook g8 seems very weird move. I mean, it was played rook g8, but it seems really weird. Though it doesn't matter because this pin should be horrible. Knight h4, I'm thinking as the first. Oh, maybe knight h4 and g5. This looks really dangerous. Knight h4, g takes, and g5. Yep. Yeah. I thought rook g8 was very, very weird, but actually it was really necessary to have that, because after knight h4, g takes h4, no queen g6, nothing, but g5 opens up everything, and white is simply in huge trouble. At h takes g5, rook g5 is simply lost, and well, I don't know, huge threat is to take on h4 and then win the knight on f3. Well, that was really nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna take a look at the chat. Let's see if you guys were successful to solve the position. And I see one question: how to improve tactical strength, Sopiko. Well, definitely I recommend you to solve as many tactics as possible. There are a lot of books, but of course Chess24 offers so many puzzles and so many instructive motifs and ideas that this is the best website I can recommend. You should just go on Chess24 and solve as many puzzles as possible. Also, I think that it's very nice to play online, or even better if you have somebody next to you or some friend, just play blitz games with him or with her, and then try not to ignore it, just analyze it, and it's gonna help you to improve a lot. Okay, let's see if there is another question, and if not, I'm gonna continue to solve the tactics. I'm very happy that I see a lot of solutions in the chat. That they are also solving the puzzles, and better than me, I guess, because I'm quite slow with it. Okay. How to improve tactical game? I know I have to solve puzzles, but what is another way? Well, This is the question from same Nandita, who asked how to improve the tactical skills. Well, there are a lot of books actually about dynamics, about tactical motives. It's not. It's very, very good, of course, to solve puzzles and to be very sharp. But of course, you can read a lot of books. Classical books are very nice. I really very much like. Jacob Augard's book, Calculation, is very, very nice one, and you also read there. If it's very, very tough for you, then you can just try to look at the position for 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and you can afterwards read. Just see what moves come to your mind first, and afterwards just read books. How many positions does tactic trainer have? Loads. I think loads of positions. At least, I don't know. I see now the puzzle a lot. I solved, I think, like 5,000, but there are a lot more. So I don't know the answer exactly on this question, but I can ask my Chess24 guys there to tell me how many puzzles are there. Okay. It's definitely not 600 puzzles, as I read in chat. Okay, and yeah, there we are. So it's time to continue solving puzzles, and there we go. Another puzzle for me. White to move. Material is not equal. I'm just pawn down. But the pin rook b8 was really weird move, because there is something going on d7 square. I hope. I am not afraid actually of back rank, because okay, first what I thought is rook d7, rook d7, rook d7, king d7, queen b8, and queen b1 is not made because I can go queen g8. Sorry, bishop g8. But what is the problem is queen e3, so I have to be quite careful. What about queen b8 or bishop c5? There are so many nice moves. So many nice moves. Simple bishop c5 and queen g8 mate? No? That's a bit unexpected, but looks like it's mate. Oh, no? Queen e6. Ah, mate in one. Oh, okay, here he has knight f8 and queen f8, and queen e6 was just a mate, but just 24. It's mate in 2 as well. Okay, my bad. I had to play queen e6 and then queen g8 so that there wouldn't be any problem with this puzzle. But okay, what to do? Let's continue. Right. Ooh, what's going on here? Okay, I think I don't have many pawns. I mean, white has many extra pawns, but this doesn't matter because once again, king is in terrible conditions, and rook b4. AB. I don't know what is the idea of rook b4, but it came to my mind. Okay, why not knight f3? Because bishop f3, queen f3, and queen e4. So if I play rook b4, AB, knight f3, bishop f3, queen f3, then there is mate. That should be a solution. Hope so. Rook b4, queen a6. Doesn't matter because I will anyway go there. Okay. Now this. Yep. That's right. That's right. Okay. Let's continue. White to move. Equal material. But something should happen here. For example, knight c6. Can it be a move? Because rook e3 I take on c2. Rook c6 I take on e7. Looks like that's the move. Queen e2 first I take with check, and then I take here. Yep, that was nice. It was actually it was very important to go knight c6, because if I did not go knight c6 and I played, let's say, after queen c2, knight g6, then this queen is kind of protected. Not kind of, it's protected, and after rook e3, actually it would be me who would be in trouble. So knight c6 idea is clear, that we are closing this line, this file, and of course queen is hanging now, and once he takes it we have check first, king f8, and then take on e2, which means that the knight on e7 is protected, and we just have an extra rook. Okay, let's see another one. Knight b4 was black's last move. So knight b4, my queen is hanging. But should I move it, or do I have something better? For example, knight f6, bishop f6, queen g6, bishop g7, knight f5. Knight f6 looks like it's the move, because even if he goes, then I will take with g6 knight, right? No, I will anyway take queen g6 and fg, knight g6. Oh, that's very beautiful. I think I have to take here and mate. Nice! I love beautiful puzzles. And I love it even more if I'm able to solve it. So the idea of knight f6 is clear, that after knight b4, knight f6, he could go king f8 as well. Well, bishop f6 of course is not a move, because then queen g6, and if bishop g7, then I would have knight f5. So it's clear we're winning. King f8. And I planned to take here with knight, f takes, knight h7. Wait, let's make, okay, knight h7, king e7, and queen g6. This looks like fantastic for white. Okay, let's continue. What's going on? Okay, whose move it is? Black's move. So first I have to see which pawn goes where, because I always get confused when it's like, ooh, what's going on? Okay, so this one promotes. This one is also going to promote. But so far, bishop pawn c7 is controlling. What moves come to mind? Bishop d6 comes to mind. If you take bishop d6, then I would promote my pawn. If you take on d2, I would take on c7. And if you take rook d6, then I would go h2. I think that's the solution. h2, and black cannot help to stop both pawns, so it looks like winning. And that's correct. Very nice, actually. Because you shouldn't be tempted here to play moves like bishop c2 or anything like that, because then, let's say, bishop c2, white could play anything like bishop h2. Okay, promote, I'll promote, but even not bishop h2, but just take, and this is draw. Okay, very nice. Queen e6 comes to mind first, but I don't know if it's good. Rook c8, knight e7, and then queen f7, then d1 also promotes. Ooh, okay, I have to calculate. That's for sure that I have to calculate, but let's trust my intuition and let's calculate queen e6 first. Of course, my idea is that he cannot take queen e6 because rook f8 and rook h8 would be mate. So what he can do, rook f8 is the threat, so he cannot promote the pawn. Let's say rook c8. Then I wanted to play knight e7. King goes either on h8 or on h7. If it goes on h8, I can play queen f7 with the idea of mate. He has to move the knight, and then it would be check, and I would take the knight. So king h7, he has to go. Still queen f7 with same motive. Okay, I think that's the solution. Yeah, because if, let's say, knight d7, then I have lots of moves like knight f5, threatening mate on g7, and then I would take on d7, so that black is not able to promote the pawn. Okay, let's continue. Interesting. Piece down. This is piece down. Again, something going on back rank and with the king. But so far, knight is protecting everything. So how can I distract the knight? Because if the knight was not on d3, then of course it would be mate on e1. Let's see. Very interesting. Knight e2, rook e2 doesn't give me anything. Queen jumps somewhere also. This is quite tough. At least to me it looks like very tough. But maybe it's not. Knight f3 should not be the solution, because just gf3 and I did not achieve anything. And that's it. I did not achieve anything actually. Queen f4 seems interesting for me, but I don't know what is my threat. Okay, it's clear that he won't take knight f4. I don't know what's my threat. Knight e2, I don't want to play knight e2. I don't know, knight e2 seems like that should not be the solution. But maybe, who knows? Knight e2, king goes anywhere. Knight c1, I don't want to get, no, this cannot be the solution. Okay. Queen b4 doesn't give me anything. Even knight b4, because there is no mate anymore on h2. I mean on e1, because h2 is not controlled. What can I play? Let's see, what do you guys think? I'm gonna need my audience help. So I'll see. Rook e2 is the suggestion, maybe knight e2. Once again, rook e2. Queen f6 with a discover check later, but the point is that the queen on b2 is protected. So I don't know. One suggestion is that king f1, knight e2, king f1, queen h2 mates, but king h1 and knight c1, rook c1, I really don't like it. Really don't like it. Queen e6 and winning. I cannot trust you like this, because queen e6 doesn't have even a mate threat. He can just take on d4. At least I think so. Anybody. Rook e2 and knight f3, but rook e2, white can simply take on d4, so I don't think that's the solution. Rook e1, knight e1, queen e5, but I can play queen d2 or knight d3. So also not the solution, I think. Knight e2, king f1, queen h2, but I'm going on h1 and I don't see how can black improve if he's not going to take on c1. Rook e2, doubling on e file doesn't give anything because rook e2 he can just take on d4. And everybody is voting for knight e2. Actually, king h1, knight f4. Swimmer chess. Swimmer chess said that knight f4 is the solution because knight f4, rook e1, king h2, queen f4, g3, probably queen f3 mates there. Yeah, knight f4. Well done, swimmer chess. I think that's the solution because then he cannot really take care of this knight on d3. Let's check. Knight e2. Why not king h1? Okay, but this is mate. No. Okay, another challenge. So rook e3, f takes e3, queen g1, king e2, queen g2 doesn't give anything because of knight f2. And what about knight g3? Uy. Everything seems so tough. Okay, rook e3, f takes e3, knight g3 doesn't give me anything. King f2 just. Knight g3 instead is very interesting. F takes and rook e3. I want queen h1, but queen h1, king f2. So let's say if he plays queen d2, do I want just to double? I don't know. Tough lines. I still think that somehow I should be able to get more. Knight g3, knight e3. Guys, you recommend to just double. I'm looking at rook e3, f takes e3, knight g3, king f2, knight e4. CD bit sad, but I was also checking that, though I'm not sure what I'm doing there, because okay, let's say rook e3, f takes, knight g3, king f2, knight e4, king f3 white cannot go because of queen g3, and I anyway take this g2 pawn. Let's say king f1 or king e1, queen g1, king e2, queen g2, this should be winning, king d1, and queen f1, king c2, queen e2, and queen d3. This should be winning. I don't know, I'm gonna try rook e3. No, not the correct solution. Not correct. Very, very, very pity. wondering what is the right move, because this puzzle seems to be so hard. It's like there are a lot of tempting moves and a lot of continuation, so I'm completely confused. So I'm definitely gonna analyze this and answer all my questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions about this position, but I definitely do. For example, why not rook e3? Because my calculation was that f takes e3, knight g3, king f2, knight e4. King goes, let's say, back on first rank, check. Then I take on g2 and I give a lot of checks, but maybe not so easy. Let's see. Okay, queen b2, knight e2, king h1. The correct solution is knight f4, knight f4, rook e1, and very nice mate there. But king f1 was also very strong move. Queen h2, knight e3, and simple knight c1, and rook cd8. This was suggested in chat, but I couldn't believe my eyes to see this move. Oh, this is okay. I understand you want d4. Oh, this is so tough. I'm gonna analyze this. So how we are doing it, it's like this. Oop, I went too far. Okay, I'm gonna push this little button there, and then I'll have it analyzed here. Now computer should answer all my questions. Queen b2, knight e2, king h1. Okay, king f1. King h1 is kind of clear. King f1, queen h2 with the idea of mate, knight e3, rook e3 I was interested in first of all, f takes, knight g3, king f2, knight e4, then probably king f1, any move, he said. Let's say king f1. I'm going for queen h1, king e2, queen g2, and let's say king d1 or e1. He cannot decide between d1 or e1. He said king d1. King d1. I wanted to give a check here, but seems like maybe knight e1 is the move. This looks so ugly. I mean, yeah, but if I take this pawn, then it's not interesting anymore. I mean, I have like 4 pawns for the rook, and the king looks terrible and they are not consolidated, but still a rook is a rook. And this one, like knight c1, rook c1 and rook cd8 is super tough, like super tough. I think this would be kind of normal solution, but I was thinking like to get more, not not equal material, but I didn't want white to have two pieces for the rook. So that's why my mind was focused on either mate or either something like to open up the king. But this puzzle shows us that we should not actually think always about getting material back or mating him. We just should look at the position and we should estimate it, and we should evaluate it like the normal position. Like, okay, I don't think about mate, I don't think about getting the material back. So is the position actually good if I don't think about that? And then it would be easy to find the solution, because, okay, rook cd8 looks really tough, but it has an amazing idea of d4, and black is actually getting material back. But even if you don't play rook cd8 and play, let's say, queen h1, king e2, and then take on g2, it's completely winning for black, I think, if white doesn't manage to get some knights here. Let's say king d2, queen h3, then he doesn't have any knight jumps, like knight g4 or something, and I don't know, knight f4. Yeah, this looks a bit tricky, so it might go both ways. If white is able to get these knights into the game, then it would be so bad. But once again, I want to praise this move, rook cd8, very much, because you don't really expect this one. And let's say d4 is the threat, so if white plays queen d4, then simple rook e4, I guess, wins the game, because queen has to move, and it doesn't matter where it moves. Let's say queen f6, so that the rook is threatened and I cannot play d4 right away. But after rook d8, d4 is anyway there, and white cannot do anything. Simple queen h1, d4, everything is there. But this was super awesome and super instructive puzzle, and thanks Chess24 for that. It was super nice, and I really hope you also enjoyed it. And that was my last puzzle to solve today. But I'm definitely gonna work on it, because seems like I'm not in the perfect shape. So I have to solve a lot of puzzles, and there are a lot of instructive puzzles on Chess24. So make sure that you will solve the puzzles as well. See you on next Thursday, and next Thursday we are going to have Banter Blitz. So if you want to play against me, get ready and then challenge my name, Sopiko nickname, on Chess24, and then we're gonna play loads of games. I wish you very nice evening, a lot of success in chess, and don't forget, solve puzzles, be alert and be sharp. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye.